Eurovision talk show brought to you by OGAE and ESC Daily. I'm Stefan Gorkum, Chief Editor of ESC Daily, and I have with me a guest today from our partner in crime in this talk show, which is Erik Bolks from OGAE. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Can you tell us what you do at the OGAE for the people who may not know that yet?
Okay, for all who don't know OGAE, it means Organisation Générale des Amateurs Eurovision, which in perfectly French means Eurovision fan community, actually. What we organize throughout the year is like events in the countries. We have, for instance, Amsterdam Calling, a concert with former artists. We arrange tickets for the fans, and we have, throughout the year, we have contests online for voting for the best second chance song that didn't make it to the Eurovision, or the best song from the country, or the best video clip. So we have all kinds of activities throughout the year, all connected to Eurovision or Eurovision artists.
Fans, of course, also get their tickets sometimes through OGAE. This must be a strange Eurovision year for you, because with all the ticketing situation, and it was not as per usual. It was not business as usual.
No, of course, it's a weird situation. You want to be there as a whole Eurovision family together and gather to the venue and have this festivity of 40 plus countries that are still into Eurovision, although there are only 39 participating. We surely miss the friends from abroad. There are a few, but it's now mostly Dutch people around, and you just miss the atmosphere of interacting and dressing up and voting and rooting for every country. So yeah, that's a pity. So we started to do this online cafe kind of thing. So we do this daily talks with the talk show and the news update. We have a guilty pleasure at the end of the week. We did a pub quiz. So we try to give these people a kind of connection to the city of Rotterdam, and to experience a little bit of the feeling that the privileged Dutch fans experience now, because I really feel a privilege now being in the Netherlands, and I'm very well aware that other people are now without Eurovision for 2 years already. So
yes. Yes, it's a good year to be Dutch, because we can be here, but a lot of people are not that lucky. You mentioned the talk show. You're of course collaborating with ESC Daily. We're very happy to help you out with that. The funny thing about that is, what I thought is that this week we've seen throughout the talk show, but also throughout the news updates, that it's like a mix of journalistic items that show as many fan experience as possible from as many different places as possible too. So let's go to another place at Eurovision, an important Eurovision place, a place where the Eurovision Song Contest is maybe more popular than anywhere else in the world.
How does it keep getting better? Every day I'll find some new way to grow. The time we spend together feels good. How does it keep getting better? Every day I'll find some new way to grow. The time we spend together feels good. Feels good. We got a good thing going. How does it keep getting better? Every day I'll find some new way to prove the time we spend together. Feels good.
Eurovision Zumba all the way from Iceland. I saw Phases in the screen. That's the name of the fan club in Iceland, right?
Yes, it's one of our sister organizations, so to call. We are OGE Netherlands, there's an OGE Latvia, there's OGE rest of the world for the countries that are not in to Eurovision, but actually it's one big umbrella organization which is connected to each other.
Right. And Iceland, of course, I mean, they had already the same act last year. In 2020, in my opinion, that could have been the crazy dance contest. You know, we didn't have a Eurovision Zumba last year, but we had Dadi, we had the Roop, you know, and we had Little Big.
Little Big from Russia, yeah.
Yeah, and now step by step, first Little Big drops out, and then gets replaced by a good entry, but still, it's different. And now Dadi, I mean, we will get to see him in the Eurovision show, but he won't be performing live. It's like one by one, these crazy dances are falling apart.
I feel such a pity for them, because first canceled the trip to Rotterdam in 2020 and now having to do the performance by tape. They are here in Rotterdam, but they cannot be on stage. Maybe they can be in the final if they really got tested negative. But let's hope for that, but I'm not that positive.
We released a statement. The band member who tested positive, he cannot be in the final because he has to have at least 5 days of quarantine. And then the rest of the band said, well, even if we test negative, it's all or nothing. We do it together, or we don't do it at all.
That's the good spirit.
Yeah. So they already said that they are going to use this tape.
Shame. Well, I hope to see them back then as a group. That will be really, really nice.
Yeah, I mean, at least they got to be with someone from Phases, from the Icelandic OJE community. Good morning, Laufey. Welcome on the show. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Almost safe. It's Leuve.
You are used to going to Eurovision yourself, live, in person. Now, this year, of course, that's not possible. How would you describe that online Eurovision experience?
Yes, it's a very different Eurovision for me and probably for many of us. It's my first Eurovision at home since 2012. So this is something not in my DNA, of course. But we're trying really to do the best and make the best out of it. We got the online pass to this press center, so we've been busy writing and blogging and etc. And giving people the Eurovision news in Icelandic that not so many of us do. And also we have been busy with organizing a full week of events with a restaurant and the pub here downtown Reykjavik. So we have had, yesterday we had a pub quiz, Eurovision pub quiz. We're watching all the live shows together, the turquoise carpet. We have a Eurovision karaoke night on Friday, and of course full events on Saturdays with Eurovision Zumba, the Euro band playing, Selma is coming, etc., etc. So we're trying to make the most of it for our members in Fauces, the Icelandic Eurovision club, and just make it a really good experience.
Now we know that Eurovision is very popular in Iceland. Is it possible, with all these activities that you're doing, to create the same Eurovision vibe in your own country?
Yes, I think you know that Iceland has the most ratings or viewings per Eurovision of all the other countries. This is the only topic that is ever being discussed during this week. Okay, Sergei Lavrov and Blinken, the foreign ministers of USA and Russia are here in Iceland now, and I haven't heard anything about it because it's Eurovision week and people are talking about Eurovision week. So, yeah.
So how's the experience? Is it the same or is it very different from other years?
It's very different. You don't get to meet your Eurovision foreign family, so to say. But you're around your Icelandic Eurovision friends, so it's not that different. But you don't get the full experience of enjoying another country, their culture, and just living and breathing Eurovision 24 hours a day. Because we're at home, we're trying to juggle work and Eurovision, of course. But it's kind of hard, especially during these COVID times. And with the news yesterday, it was just devastating.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you're talking about not getting the full Eurovision experience. Well, speaking about that, I mean, your entry this year, they will be in the contest. They have performed in Ahoy, but they won't perform live during the actual shows. They won't get the full experience.
Yeah. So the Icelandic delegation, along with the Australian delegation, have definitely drawn the shortest straw in Eurovision this year. And I feel so bad for both of them, Montaigne and Gagnamagnet, because they have been working on this project for almost 2 years now. Their work is excellent. We're really proud of their work, but the fact that they don't get to experience the full Eurovision experience on stage, in the green room, in the Turkish carpet, getting the applause from the audience, it's devastating. I was crying all day yesterday.
Yeah. Can you imagine how they must feel? Yeah. Do you think that it will also have an impact on the results, on the chances that they have?
I don't think it has so much an impact on the result tonight for the semi-final too, but in the end it must have some kind of effect. Some people have been saying we will get sympathy votes because of it. But Steve, the last shot where you can see when they have shown the tape, and the last shot where you can see it is a tape on screen in the arena. Mm-hmm. It really it's so hurtful.
Yeah, it breaks your heart.
It breaks your heart, and I think that will affect the audience, at least in my opinion. But I'm mainly sorry for the Gagnamagnet because they're a group, they're in this together. And they wanted to do this together on stage. I'm just mainly sorry for them. Yeah. But the rehearsal, the second rehearsal on 13th of May was perfect. Everyone is really happy about it. And it's good that we have that on tape so we can show that.
Yeah. Despite everything, you're still in the top 10 of the bookmakers for this year's Eurovision. Who do you think are your biggest competition, for Iceland in this year's Eurovision?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Steve, because I think, Italy and France are those staple countries in Eurovision that are probably beating each other's heads off. And then we have Malta and strange countries like Ukraine. Dadi has something special. Gagnamagnet has something special. It's called the Dadi factor. And it's completely uncalculable. You can't really figure it out until you see it on stage. And that's why he went up in the bookmakings last week when he started rehearsing, because people really underestimated it, I think, at first.
Wouldn't that be a story if, the entry that didn't perform live on the stage would actually bring the contest to Reykjavik next year?
Yeah. Wow, that would be insanely. It would be insane.
We could make a whole nother Eurovision movie about that.
Yeah, Will Ferrell, just be in touch with us. Yeah.
So last but not least, can you show us what you're wearing right now, and are you going to wear it when you're watching the show tonight as well?
Yes, of course. I've been wearing it all week. So this is my Dadi and Gagnamagnet. It doesn't have my personal face on it, like many have. They were unavailable at the point when I got them, but they are so hot right now because people are, they are sold out, and people are buying them, second hand and on the black market now for lots of money.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us. Enjoy the show tonight and enjoy the rest of your online Eurovision experience.
Thank you so much, Dave, and good luck with everything you guys are doing back in Rotterdam.
Thank you, Löwe from Iceland. I hope I now pronounced it correctly. Eric, you could see the emotion with her, and it's probably an added up feeling of like not being there herself. Then the band comes and they can perform live. There's a lot of personal dramas this year.
Yes, and maybe that is what makes it the most personal contest so far. So let's try to see it as a positive thing. Maybe I just try to think around, but you can imagine the pain they suffer emotionally.
Yeah, and you can see these emotions with the artist as well, because I could notice during the first semi-final, the lead singer from Lithuania was very emotional when he qualified for the grand final. He, of course, also had to qualify twice, to get to Eurovision. And then we had the jury show last night where Samantha Tina, who of course tried so many times to go to Eurovision, was full of emotions that she's now finally there. It's a very emotional year.
Yeah, it can break you up as well, as we saw with Latvia last night. That just too emotional, and then it gets to the voice, and then something goes wrong. You cannot prohibit it.
You cannot prevent it. It's difficult.
Prevent it.
Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah. So one last thing about Iceland, they will put their tape on during tonight's show, probably during Saturday's show as well. At least that's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
How much will this impact their results? The fact that it's not actually live.
The tape we get to see is a tape without audience, so you don't see this chemistry with the audience the artist on stage would have had. But on the other side, I think the viewers at home won't see much of a difference, like they did with Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So they now will see, like, the band is playing in the Ahoy Arena, so they will not have the feeling. And if they didn't listen to the commentators, they might not even notice it. So, but if they listen to the commentators telling this whole story, it might give them a little boost in the voting. But I don't think the results will be impacted that much, actually.
Before this COVID news broke out, they were considered by a lot of people actually a candidate, even maybe for victory. Mm. They were, of course, one of the top favorites for victory last year. I just spoke about this with Löwe, and if they were to not perform live and then win Eurovision, what a story that would be. Is that still a possibility, according to you?
I don't count them as one of the contenders for victory, but if they would win, it would not be that good for the contest, actually, because then you get this new way of looking at the contest. Oh, we can send in a video and we can tape all the voices, and then there needs to be something that goes wrong that makes it more exciting. And this live experience is, of course, adding to the atmosphere, and is typically for Eurovision, it's the charm of Eurovision. This live boost and the synergy you see then. So I would not be in favor of having a video contest.
No, and we already have the live vocals this year, which backing vocals can be pre-recorded. I do think, because Australia did not qualify, that right now the vibe within the community is that you still have a big advantage if you can perform live. Mm-hmm. But of course that would disappear if Dadi were to win. You said he's not your top favorite for victory this year. What are the main contenders, especially in the second semi-final that we're going to see tonight?
I think this semi has like 3 big contenders for really top 5, top 10. That's what we're talking about in the final.
Yes.
That would be for me Switzerland, because of the vocals. Those are excellent. Bulgaria, because of the picture, because it's really beautifully staged. And I think Greece is really charming as well. The young girl, looking fresh, performing very well and very confident as well.
Yeah, let's go over them one by one then, because you mentioned Switzerland first of all. Is he also confident? I mean, asking that question, maybe answering it a bit as well.
He is a singer-songwriter, and they ask him to dance and do this hand choreography. I personally think it's not fitting the song, but you see they try to do something different. I hope that the people will still focus on the song and the singing, and then
because that's very good, right? Let's be clear. There was a jury show last night, and he was perfect.
Yeah, so the song is very good, and he's a very good performer. So it's just a shame that these hand movements are not in place, according to my taste.
Yeah, and then Bulgaria, they of course got their staging right. They're telling the story perfectly.
Yeah, it instantly gets to your heart, and you see this emotion she is portraying there on stage. It's a beautiful scenery, pictures, and I think in the final it can stand out because there's a lot of up-tempo music in the final already.
Yeah, and then a small song like the one from Bulgaria may stand out even more.
Then they need second half in the draw, because in the first half it might be forgotten. So now we have, like for instance, Belgium is in the first half. Sorry, no chance anymore, I guess.
Yeah, and if you look at the top favorites, we've seen that, of course, Italy and France already got that second half draw. And if you want to catch up to those two countries, it feels like you need to have that second half draw as well. So that will be an important moment for both Switzerland and Bulgaria, I think. But there are only 4 more tickets left, right? It's 4 and 6, I think.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. There's not much room left anymore for those who would like to.
All right, so let's talk about the last one you mentioned, because I feel like that's one that the bookmakers have not fully picked up on, and that's Stefania from Greece. What do you like about her so much?
What I like about Stefania is that she really looks confident for her age. She's a very adult performer. The act is really nice to watch. From home, you think what's happening there, and then you realize it's actually dancing, and they're using a green screen. The song is poppy. It's instant digestible, I would say. There's a lot of sympathy going out from this act. So,
Yes, and I think she also had a lot to gain from her previous Junior Eurovision experience, right?
That, and I think Stefania is the one who had a benefit by not having to sing her song last year, because she immensely grown as an artist. The way she got more experience. Now she's fluently in English, and she stands there on stage, and she has charisma now, which she didn't have last year, I guess.
Well, that's a great thing. I mean, she's still very young, but she's grown a lot as an artist, and she's aware of that, and she spoke about it in a double interview with Destiny and the team of ESC Daily.
We're connected, you know?
Yeah.
Like even our live on tape, we had it together at the same country, and now we're here.
Back together.
Feel the fire in your soul.
I think the Junior Eurovision does help us artists a lot, because we are like, we get used to being on stage, and we get used to having an audience to sing for. We get used to like interviews. I mean, from a young age, we used to do a lot of interviews during the Junior Eurovision.
First rehearsal, we need to understand if the music is okay for you.
Because we learned there, you know, to look into the cameras and to sing and to dance while like thinking of, okay, I need to look there, I need to stand here. And I definitely took all those things with me to Eurovision. I think that everything here is like really serious. You need to work for it, because you know, you have interviews to let people know that you're still alive, let's say it like that. And you have like for the press and for the stage, you need to do a lot of things backstage. You need to do a lot of things in your hotel, because I am still like practicing in my hotel. So I have no time for to like sit down and just watch TV. That is just in the midnight. So
Hell no, I am not your honey. Hell no, I don't want your money.
Like now we're adults, and we're not innocent anymore. Like we just have to think about these things, you know. Before, when we were young, we were so like happy-go-lucky. It's like, I'll do your hair, you just wear this, you just wear that. And even at night, we used to like stay together in the lobby. We used to shout, scream, run, like play. And you know, it's different now, even when things.
oh my God, now you said it, I remember everything. We were like acting like fools, like we were like running around and like screaming, and then the next day we didn't have any voices anymore. So
We used to run.
How they're not young anymore, how they're not kids anymore, but they're still so young, and yet they're so professional.
I wouldn't say that these are little girls. These are really grown-up women. And it's funny to see them now both in struggling for victory, actually. So the one who doesn't win probably will come back to Eurovision. That would be nice.
I mean, there's still plenty.
Eurovision. That would be nice.
I mean, there's still plenty of time in their careers to do it again and to maybe improve even more. But they're already such. I mean, they're both very, very talented artists.
Very talented, and you see the potential. So one day it will come out.
So we talked about Stefania before the break. Let's talk about Malta a little bit more, because even though they're not in this second semi-final, they're still a contender for victory. They're even climbing back up the bookmakers' markets now. I think they've passed France overnight, or they're close to them actually. Okay. Destiny back in the race, rightfully so, according to you?
According to her vocals, absolutely yes. Now that she's growing back, well, we get to see France tonight, so France will grow back as well. So the dispositions in the odds, it's okay for me. But I think the strong contender Malta, yeah, she might do very, very well. And well, it's first half, so she has to sparkle there and still stay in the minds of the voters, because the juries will still pinpoint that one as a very good entry. The televoters might forget it because there's a lot of songs after her. Probably in the draw she will put on the 13th spot.
Yeah, well, that looks like a very true possibility. I'm wondering now, with so many potential winners in this year's contest, and you've already mentioned a few. We've seen these two young girls. There's France and Italy, both from the Big Five, that we haven't even seen, in an actual show yet. But they will be there on Saturday. They will come and they will be in the second half of the show. There's a lot of different options, a lot of different ways this contest can go. According to you, what's going to be the story on Saturday night?
The story is going to be that until the voting is very exciting and nobody knows who's going to win. And my gut feeling says that in the end, France will win with a landslide. But if some other country wins an unexpected one, maybe a 7th or an 8th candidate will jump out as a winner, it would be very nice as well. So it's an open competition this year, and I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. And I'm wondering though, what will be the key to victory this year? Is it going to be televote or jury vote?
I think the key will be which song is coming across the most emotional and touching the hearts of the people. And that's what you see in all victories. The most emotional song wins the Eurovision. In my view, that will be France, but maybe it's another one on the big night.
So you think France can do well with televoters and juries then?
Old and young people, yeah.
Yeah. If something can come across all ages, across all juries, that's of course the best thing that we can see. But we also have to be aware that there's still external elements that could change the competition. We could have another COVID case, but we could also have these technical issues that we saw during the jury rehearsal first.
We saw it in a jury rehearsal, and we saw in Semi 1 there was a camera failure. So hopefully everything goes right. Most of the viewers won't notice these failures, but it's such a shame if a show doesn't go like 100% perfect, and the Dutch want to be perfect. So I hope these semis will teach them, and they will be extra aware to make no mistakes at all.
Yeah, you already mentioned how important it is for Eurovision to be a live event because it gives something extra. That means that things can go wrong sometimes.
That's the fun of Eurovision. You always hope of something going a little wrong and then see how they catch up with it. Like Chantal did in Semi 1, she had to improvise, and then you see the strength of the presenter, and the same can happen to a singer. We saw it with Suri when the microphone was ripped away.
Yes,
she recaptured herself and she went on, and that is what sticks to the mind and what makes Eurovision really nice to watch.
Chantal Jansen, one of the presenters, very good at improvising indeed, but behind the scenes there was a lot of improvising too when that camera turned off.
This is my position here. I'm sitting here. During the live show with my DA on the left and the fishing mixer on the right. It's quiet. We are fully concentrate. I'm not telling a lot. I'm not speak a lot. I'm just watching and looking if every camera is doing their job. The Q-Pilot is actually a timeline. I can put in all the cameras. You see camera 7, 47, 71, 19. And we can put it, the cut on the frame. I script all the songs in front before the rehearsal. And during the rehearsals, the delegations gave me their commands.
27. Now it's a total, it's a 2-shot, 27.
Yeah. And what
that
do you want?
one. I'd like to have the lead singer, but in full figure, because there's a little delay here. So can we check? No, we can't see 35 now. No, okay.
Of course, of the delegations, they expect that we work on the edge.
We really like that there's less movement now on the close-up camera and stuff.
Overall.
We like that all over.
Okay. Yeah, yesterday we had a big failure with camera 5. It totally broke down during the live show. After that song, we had 40 seconds, the postcard, and then we decided, okay, how can we fix it? They told me, okay, the camera's broken for the whole evening, and I dived directly in the Q-Pilot to the other countries, and what's to camera 5, what he's doing when, what are the problems which are coming with camera 5. And then we changed the cameras really during the live show from camera 5 to other cameras. Luckily, everything fell on the good side of the coin. But it was near close, very close, because I think that we did a very well job. So all the songs after, there were minor details of changes.
Thanks for watching. See you then.
ESC Daily went to the direction truck to see how they deal with this camera failure actually, and fix it in such a short time. It's quite impressive, right?
It is impressive, and with all these preparations they did, you don't know what can happen and what can go wrong at all the time. But well, if you have to improvise and you're good at your job, you fix it, and that's good.
Well, clearly they're good at their jobs. In general, what do you think of the level of production that the Dutch are putting up?
Well, it's not fair to ask that to a Dutch Dutch guy. I think they do really well. I was a bit afraid they would try to do humor, which is quite difficult in Europe. They stayed away from that. The little things they do, it's just like, okay, a little, but not too much. So I think in general, the whole production is very smooth, almost clinical. Maybe due to COVID as well, that it has to be like this, but it is also a bit of the Dutch temperament that, don't make any stupid things, just be normal, that's good enough. And then I would have liked a little bit more excessive maybe, but this is really nice, and it's a nice business card for the Netherlands of how to make a good production. It will not be run over time like the Maltese pre-selection or the Israeli final, which lasted about 4.5 hours.
Oh yes, and the Netherlands, of course, is one of those countries that is always complaining in the reference group, like, okay, we had another grand final which ran late. Of course, it also has to do with our public broadcaster system with all these different organizations. But yeah, I mean, if you make a schedule, maybe you can try to stick to it. I personally like this quick pace. We got to on Tuesday, we got to the participants in, I think, about 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Yeah,
yes.
and yesterday, for tonight, we'll be doing the same.
Yes, and in the meantime, we do showcase some talent, like Evie de Visser, she's doing the opening. It should be focusing on the songs and not on a whole leader to the show. So I think I'm happy with it, actually. I hope it sets the standard high for the next organization.
Yeah, you mentioned Evie de Visser. Are you a fan of her? Can you explain to maybe our international audience what kind of, because she's a very peculiar artist, isn't she?
Yeah, she is, and her music is different than other artists. So that it is really nice to showcase that. It's not typical. It's not pop. It's not rock. It's not jazz. It's just some. Yeah, it's hard to describe. You have to go and watch and listen, actually, I would say.
I think we'll all be doing that tonight at the second semi-final of the Eurovision Song Contest, when she will be the opening act, in fact. She's, as we said, very, very out there with a very different style. In the first semi-final, we saw someone maybe a little bit more pop, a bit more mainstream, but still excelling at what she did, Davina Michel. How do you look back at that performance?
The reactions in the Netherlands were really, really positive in the media, and she went straight to #1 in the charts because of that song. So it really made the Dutch people proud, at least, and she blown away with her voice on the stage. So there was a good first semi. So let's see what Evie does and what we get to see in the final.
A couple of years ago, she passed on the opportunity to go to Eurovision because she felt that Eurovision was so big and such a high level that she wasn't ready for it. Does this prove that she's ready for it now, maybe to go represent the Netherlands next year?
She is surely ready. Whether she would be the perfect candidate, I don't know. What she does do now in the Netherlands is showing that if you are a big selling artist, it's okay to be connected to Eurovision. So what Anouk and Ilse de Lange did in the past, she did now yesterday, and still there's the people who had prejudice about the Eurovision Song Contest are now proven wrong because it's a high level contest. Actually, that's what she proven.
And then in terms of the presenters, you mentioned they're quite serious and they're quite they keep up the fast pace. Let's go over them one by one. We have Jan Smit, Chantal Jansen, Celia Rombly, and Nikki Tutorials. Who's the best one?
I think the surprise here is Nikki from Nikki Tutorials. She was added to the presenters only this year. Originally, she would have been only the online presenter, and she is an influencer doing makeup or shows or whatever. But she has such a nice presence, and her English is very good, and she's very witty as well, it seems. She does it with a lot of flair, and I like it. And it's really funny because actually she's transgender, and she came out after being blackmailed or something, and she seems to own the stage, and there's no confidence issue at all. So that's really funny to see.
And it's also not much of an issue. That's what I like. She's just standing there, she's presenting, she's focusing on Eurovision and on her job.
As it should be.
Exactly, because she's standing there as if it is completely normal that a transgender presenter is there, and that's the way it should be.
No fuss.
So then what about the others? There's Chantal Jansen, there's Jan Smit, there's Cecilia. How are they holding up so far?
Chantal Jansen, she is very much rewarded and awarded presenter in the Netherlands. She's doing very well, I guess. I think you know she's familiar on stage. She wants to be everybody feeling happy. So she's actually hosting and she's inviting the visitors. Very warm, I think. Celia is just like, she's enthusiastic. She's not a presenter, but she's...
And it is a job, right? Presenting
it is a job, and it's nice to have her. But she's not carrying the show. The one who are carrying the show are Chantal and Nikki. And then there's Jan doing some points. I'm not a fan of Jan, sorry. But he is the one put there by the broadcaster. And actually Chantal was offered by the commercial broadcasters just to make it a
nice combination.
Co-production. And actually it really works well together.
Co-productions do work well, as we are proving this week, of course, as well.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you think to look forward to the rest of this Eurovision week? Because we've only seen one live show. There's still a couple of very fun Eurovision days to come. What can people who are at home, who sadly can't be here, what can they expect? Not only, we've talked a lot about the TV shows, but what can they expect in between from OGE, for example?
We mentioned already the talk shows, but there's also this online Euro Village. Usually you have a village set up in the city and you can go there and enjoy concerts and stuff like that. Now they made that online. Like yesterday they had a concert or an interview as well with Sandra Kim, former winner, and Sergei Lazarov. Later this week they will have Kino and Chiara. It's online, and I think people who are at home can now dive into Eurovision, and there's a lot of things to discover on internet, of course. There's talk shows, there's interviews,
And you offer them a lot this week too.
Right? Everybody is offering, so it's even hard to be to be in the picture. So, but the good thing of internet is that you can always review it.
That's a good thing. So there's a lot of things to go through this Eurovision week for the people following it at home. We feel for you and we hope to see you back next year. Sure. But in the meantime, we try to offer you the best possible Eurovision content, not only at OGE and at ESC Daily, but at a lot of other Eurovision outlets as well. So enjoy your Eurovision online experience and tune in again for our next talk show. Good night.
See you later.